Now, the 2021 Ghana Public Safety and Crime Report by the Bureau of Public Safety has revealed that violent crimes reported in the year 2021 increased by 40.8%. According to the Bureau, the reported cases associated deaths also increased by 53.7% over year 2020. Per the report, reported spontaneous mob actions targeted at police stations, state facilities and political events, players dominated civil disturbances and also events constituting 37.5% of all reported civil disturbances for the 2021 period. So let's get into a lot more in this particular report because we know it's released overnight. My colleague Dennis Wedam is with the News Planning Department. He's going to be joining me so we delve deep into some of these. So Dennis, this is a report that is issued annually, we know, and in the last few years there's been a year-on-year increase in terms of the crimes that are being witnessed. So what is this year's report telling us specifically relating to violent crimes and the use of arms for committing these crimes?
So actually the report we have now is for the year 2021. Knowing that it ended in December, we are still in 2022, so we are unable to get the data for 2022 as yet. But this is for 2021 in relation to 2020. And what we are being told by this report shows that violent crimes have increased from 40.8% to, it's been increased by 40.8%. And that the associated deaths also increased by some 53.7% in that regard. Homicide, and that refers to manslaughter and then murder, armed robbery and then aggravated assault, top the most reported violent crimes. We are also being told that the Greater Accra and the Ashanti regions reported the highest incident of armed robberies, and each region retaining 90% of reported cases as compared to 2020. So it's also been talking about the use of firearms in the commission of these violent crimes. And the report we have for 2021 indicates that there's been an increase for the third year continuously by some 57.6% over the year 2020. That's a huge number when you look at firearms in wrong hands, or firearms being used to commit crime. Also, there's been some 67% of reported victims to homicide. And each time we mention homicide here, we're referring to manslaughter and then murder. And that those of the 67%, it represented the males, and then 79 represented males who were reported to have perpetrated those crimes. Now, there's also been some good news that reported police arrest efforts increased from 470 in 2020 to 610 in 2021. That means that there's an increase of 21.8% when it comes to the police effort in making arrests in that regard. So now, when you look at the trends over the years with respect to violent crimes, you'd notice from this graph that in 2018, you have the recorded figure of 260 incidents, 65 incidents. In 2019, we have 409. When you look at the percentage increase here, it's a little above 50%. Then in 2020, there was a decrease, except that the decrease was just something less than 10%.
Okay.
Then from 2020 to 2021, where we are now, it shows that there's been an increase of over 40% increase. So this is the trend that we have here. The report also makes some suggestions as to how we can get over some of these things. And then the suggestion is that if there's a heightened public education on situational awareness and dangers in transitional spaces, and by transitional spaces, they mean that in public spaces, places of worship and entertainment, because the report observed that a lot of the violent crimes occur outside the home.
The home, yes.
Now, they also recommended some community policing and then state-mounted CCTV cameras deployment.
But that is already in force.
Yes, but the suggestion is that it should be enhanced, and
okay,
that regularly the police should release the footage for the public to see, and also to serve as deterrent to some of the criminals in there. So basically, this is the overview of the report. It's also been talking about road crashes and some other crimes, but specifically today we're looking at the rise in incidents of violent crimes from 2020 to 2021, the comparison.
I'm sure in the coming days we are going to be delving deeper into this report and what the efforts have been on the part of security agencies and the powers that be to deal with some of these issues.